When I started this video, I already had the base of Fire Oasis. What we did was we went to Michael's to get some just styrofoam shapes that all fit together into a large structure. We did the same thing with Plant Island, and we will probably do it in the future, hopefully. Keep making sets. Right now, Dad is making some of the blown glass plants that like bulbed flowers that are all over Fire Oasis. This purple started out as a pretty light shade, but then for some reason, which I haven't figured out yet, it started to get darker and darker and darker, as you can see that happening. So then I cut off just a little bit of the front of Fire Oasis's face so that I could glue in the eyeball. I hadn't done that yet though. There we go, I glued in the third platform. Now we have all of them. I also glued in the plants, and now I'm painting on some of the blown glass rocks and other obstacles that are around Fire Oasis. Now I'm working on the back of the platforms, which are made of foam. They weren't, I don't think it was a great texture. Maybe we can do a little more work on that. Then I used some paper to do the rimming of that. And then I was using some more foam to do some of the blown glass, just spikes coming out of the sides. You can see I was hot gluing those on. It's identical on both sides, which I think is a little unrealistic, but I still did it because I want to stay true to the actual original design. So there we go, I've got all of the blown glass spikes on one side. Now I'm putting a little bit of red rimming, as there is on Fire Oasis, around just the sides of the face. There's a little bit of pattern on some parts that I haven't exactly drawn in yet, but I will. And now you can see I'm just touching up the yellow paint around the sides of the face, and then I touched up the eyeball, put some foam on there, painted that so it all fit in, and this is the completed model of Fire Oasis. There's one more thing that we have to do before we're done, which is we have to put on polyurethane, thank you, so that it's going to be smooth and shiny, and it's going to look really nice, like blown glass, sort of. We'll see how that turns out, so let's get to that. So now we've put that layer of polyurethane over this, and it made it a little shinier, you can see there. It looks, I think, better onto the platforms, which you can't totally see, the light's not great here. You can sort of see how shiny they are, nice and smooth. And then on the eyeball right there, you can really see how shiny it is, the light reflects off of it. Not on the lids though, because those are just foam. And then that's on everything here. I mean, the actual thing, the platform parts, it's on the plants, it's on the little rocks and stuff. Yeah, so that is the set. Now I'm going to get to talking about the actual how I animate. So let's do that. Now before I get into the rest of the video, I'm just going to say that what's going to happen next is I'm going to show how I make my actual stop motions. I'm going to show how I make a vocal monster and an instrumental monster, and we'll see how that goes. So we're going to start with a vocal monster. We've got Toe Jammer right here. Instead of actually moving anything on his actual body, we're just going to take his mouth just straight off, and we're going to replace it. So let's do that. So first we've got to put in something that looks like it's making the D sound, right? So we're going to put in this one, which you can probably see that making the D sound, you guys. I could visualize that. Okay, so we're going to take that frame, but we want to give him a little more emotion, so he looks like he's alive. So with the next frame, which is sort of just a conversion from that D to an oo, just sort of a middle ground, that we're gonna make his eyes cross. Another thing about Toe Jammer is that he has these teeny tiny little vibrations that you'll probably barely even notice. I'm trying to find my blue clay right now. We're just gonna put these little medium-sized dots all over him. Just like that. Kind of flattened out, rounded things, and those will just look like little waves and jiggly things on him. So let's just try that. And we're gonna switch to the ooh mouth. Just a circular right there. We're gonna move these all over the place. Totally different places. Now we've got about 3 steps going on every time we do this. We're gonna take these big blue things off, and we're not even gonna keep them. We're gonna cut them up into even smaller ones, so the vibrations seem to be getting smaller. But you say you could do that with just more blue clay. Well, yeah, but I don't really need to keep these, even though we're gonna be having that same effect again. Of course, they wouldn't be exactly the same. And you say, why didn't you change them last time you were every frame? Last time you were animating that little vibration feature. And my dear Watson, I say that that's just gonna make the video way too long, and it really doesn't need to be that detailed, because it's just not entirely necessary. Sure, it makes it look better in places. It makes it look worse in places, but it's not that big of a change, and I don't think that it's doing that much damage, so you don't have to worry about it. Now, we're gonna swap out that rounded open mouth to this clenched "w" sound mouth. And as we do that, oh no, I'm just gonna leave that there for a sec. Okay. And then we're going to start to pull his eyes apart, so he's no longer singing. So now we're going to be animating an instrumental, specifically congal. I thought that he was fitting, since you really have to pay attention to these smooth movements that are common in the plucking of the birds plucking at the strings on Willoughby, the heads going down on Quibble, his necks and stuff. Really, the nose on Snizer, or in this case, the hands on Congal. And yeah, Pango too, sorry. So, what I'm going to do is, what we're going to be doing is, I'm going to take a hand, you want to make it go really smoothly down. It needs to be bent up at the top and down at the bottom, and then as it hits, it sort of bends up at the back and down at the front. And then it'll do like that. Yep, there you go. It's exactly the smooth movement that we want. So now we're going to animate that right here, and then we'll see the finished product. And now for the big reveal. Put your votes in now. Do you think Lowell exists or not? The answer is... stay tuned for part 2!